Matthew chapter 14. En ek enoi toi kai roi kusen Heroides ho tetrarchus de nakoen Yeshua. In that occasion or time, Heroides the tetrarch heard the report of Yeshua. Kai epen tois paisin autu, and he said to his servants, Who tosestin Johannes ho baptistus? This is Johannen, the baptizer, the Baptist, autos gerte apoton nekron. He was raised from the dead ones. Kai dia tuto hai dynamis en ergusin en autoi, and through this the powers are working in him. Hogar Heroides Gratesas ton Johannen Edersen kai en pulakai apetseto dia Heroidiada den Gunaika Pilippoi tu adel puautu. For Heroides, having seized Johannen, bound and set in prison through Herodiada, the woman of Philippos, his brother. Elegen gar ho Johannes autoi, for Johannen was saying to him, Ukexestinsoi eke nauten, it is not being lawful for thee to be having her. Gaitelo nauton apoktenai, epoberten tonoklon, and desiring to kill him, he feared the crowd, that hoti hos properten auton ekon, that as a prophet they were holding him. Genesiois de genomenois tu heroidu, orkersato hertugater tes heroidiados en toi mesoi, kai eresen toi heroidei. And the birthday having become of Herod, the daughter of Herodiados danced in the middle and pleased Herod. Hoten metorku homologus en autei tunai ho ean aitersetai. Whence with an oath he promised to her to give what she might ask, whatsoever she might ask. Her de probibus cesa hypotes metros autes, and she, having been put forward by her mother, dosmoi persin, is saying, Give thou to me. Horde epipinaki den gepalern Johannu tu baptistu. Here upon a platter the head of Johannen the baptizer. Kai tes ho basileus dia tu sorcus, kai tu synanakemenus ekeleusen doternai. And the king, having become grieved through the oaths and those together reclining, commanded to be given. Kai pempsa sapek gepallisen Johannen en döi pylagöi. And having sent, he beheaded Johannen in the prison. Gai nekter högepalle autu epipinaki. And he brought, and his head was brought on a platter. Gai edoter doi gorasioi. And it was given to the lass. Gai nenken doi me triauters. And she brought to her mother. Gai proseltontes hoimater diautu. And his disciples, having approached, Öran toptoma gai etapsan auton, took up the corpse and buried it. Gai eltontes apöngelan toi Yeshua. And having come, they announced to Yeshua, Acusas de ho Jesus anecores eneketen en ploioi e sermon topon katidian. And Yeshua, having heard, withdrew from there in a boat into a desolate place, according to self, that is, privately. Gai acusantes hoi okloi golute sanautoi, bedzoi hypoton poleon. And the crowds having heard, were following after him by foot upon the cities, or from the cities, followed him. Gai exelton eden polun oklon. And having gone out, he saw a great crowd. Gai esplanknister ebautois. And he had compassion upon them. Gai eterapeusen dus arrostus auton. And he healed their weaknesses or sicknesses. Their sick ones. He healed their sick. Opsias de genomenes proselton autoi hoimate dilegontes. And evening having become, the disciples approach to him, saying, mosestin hotopos kai her hora parelten öde. The place is desert, and the hour is already past. Apoluson tus oklus. Therefore, release thou the crowds. Hina apeltontes estas gomas agorasos in heautois bromata. That, having gone forth into the villages, they might buy for themselves foods. Hode penautois, but he said to them, Ukrea nekusin apelten. They are not having a need to release. Tote autois humes pagen. Give ye to them yourselves. Yourselves give to them to eat. Hoide legus in autoi. And they are saying to him, Uke komen hode e me pente artus, kai duo ictuas. We are not having here, if not 5 breads and 2 fish. Hode epen. And he said, Peretemoi hode autus, be ye bringing to me here them. Be ye bringing them here to me. Kai geleusas tus oclus anagliternai epitu cortu, and having commanded the crowds to be reclining upon the grass, labon tus pente artus kai tus duo ictuas, having taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, anablepsas is tonuranon eulogösen, having looked up into the sky, he blessed, kai glasas edoken tois mater tais tus artus hoide mater tai tois oklois. And having broken, he gave to the disciples the bread, and the disciples to the crowd, to the crowds. Kai epagon pantes kai ekortas san kai Öranton periseuon ton klasmaton dodecacopinus plures. And all ate and were satisfied, and they took up the remainder, the things remaining, the things remaining of the broken pieces, 12 baskets full. Hoide estiontes san Andres Jose pentakis kilioi, choris gynaikon kai paidion. And those eating were men, about 5,000, besides women and children. Kai nankasen tus matertas embernai estoploion, kai proagenauton estoperan. And he compelled the disciples to embark into the boat and to be going ahead of him into the other side. Heos hu apolusa yetus oclus, until when he should loose the crowds, send away the crowds. Kai apolusas tus oclus, and having sent away the crowds, aneber is to oros, he went up into the mountain, kai idian proseuxastai, and by himself prayed. Opsias de genomenes, and evening having become, monos neke, he alone was there. To deployon meson talasses basanizomenon hypoton kumaton. And the boat already in the midst of the sea was being tormented or tossed about by the waves. Gar enantios ho anemos, for the wind was being contrary. Tetartøye, de pulakøye tøs nyktos ölten, prosautus peripaton epitön talassan. And in the 4th watch of the night he came to them walking upon the sea. idontes de auton, and having seen him epithers thalassus upon the sea peripatunta walking etaractersan legontes, they were troubled, saying, Hoti pantasma estin, that a phantom or ghost it is. Kai apotu pobu ekraksan, and from the fear they cried out, Eutuste elalösen autois legon, but immediately he spoke to them, saying, Tarasete, be ye, being of good cheer, egoemi, I am he. Me pobeste, don't be ye fearing. Apokrites de autoi ho Petros epen, and Petros, having responded to him, said, Kyrie, Lord, esue, if it is thou, Keleuson me elten prosse epita hydata, command thou me to come to thee upon the waters. Hode epen, and he said, Elte, and he said, come thou. Kai katapa sapotu ploiu Petros periepatesen epita hydata, kai ölten proston Yeshun. And having descended from the boat, Petros walked upon the waters and came to Yeshua. Blepon deton anemon eproberter, but seeing the wind, he feared. Kai arxamenos katapontizestai, ekraxen legon, and having begun to be plunging, he cried out, saying, Kyrie, Lord, son me, save thou me. Euteos de ho Iesus ectenas tön keras epelabeto autu kai lege autoi oligopiste estid edistasas. And immediately Yeshua, having stretched out the hand, laid hold of him, and is saying to him, Little faither, into what thou doubted? Kai anabanton auton esto ploion, ekopasen ho anemos, and having of them going up, and of them having gone up into the boat, the wind grew tired. Hoide entoi pluioi prosecunesan autoi legontes. And they in the boat were bowing to him, worshipping to him, saying, Alertos teu huios truly God's Son thou art. Kai dia perasantes ölton epitön gön es Gennesaret, and having crossed over, they came upon the land into Gennesaret. Kai epignontes auton hoiandres tu topu ekenu apestelan holön tön perikoron ekenön. And having recognized him, the men of that place sent into all that surrounding region. And kai prosönen kanautoi pantas tus kako ekontas. And they brought to him all those having badly, which means being sick. Kai parekalun auton. Hina monon hapsoontai tu kraspedu tu himatiu autu. Kai hosoi santo diesotersan. And they were begging him so that only they might touch of the corner, the extremity of his garment, and as many touched were saved, were made whole.